Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner Since 96, and you are watching my Arteta press conference reaction video where I'm going to be looking at Arteta's post-match press conference, talking about some of the things that he's discussed once I sort my seat out, talk about some of the things that he's discussed about the game, and that's about it really, because I've given my own post-match reaction yesterday as it was a lunchtime kickoff. I was able to release that last night, so if you haven't watched that, do check that out. But as of today, we will be looking at what Arteta thought about the game. He had some questions to answer about the decisions that went against him, about the performances, about European qualification and where we stand on that. So let's get started. He starts off by talking about, or there were some questions asked about the conversations with the officials at the end of the game. He looked really animated. They looked really upset. You could see him, you could sort of make out what he was saying at the end there, saying to the refs that, you know, I was talking to you with respect, something along those lines. And it seemed as if the referees were not interested in listening to what he had to say or answering any of the questions that he might have had. And I think this is one of the biggest problems with the officials in the UK. They have so much arrogance about them, and they have so much they put themselves on this really high pedestal, thinking that it's their way or the highway, and it's almost as if everyone else is below the refs, the players, the managers, any other sort of organisation in a normal match day. The referee has the ultimate power to do whatever he wants, and there's nothing you can say or do that will change that. And so when asked about the conversation with the officials, he kept it simple. He said that I keep that between me and them. And again, when he was asked about the decisions, he said, again, I prefer to stay mute on that. It's really interesting. Personally, I would love to know what was said between him and the officials, and whether he when they went down the tunnel, whether he went into the referee's office to clarify decisions. I hope he did. He has every right to do that. But look, we've seen some real dodgy decisions this week. We saw some really dodgy decisions last week. We've still got a very important game today with Liverpool and Man City. By the time this is out, the game was probably about to start or have started, so it'll be interesting to see. But it seems as if, as the years have gone by and as VAR has been introduced, everything has become 10 times more confusing, and the referees have made the game more controversial than it already was. At least before, if the referee made a decision, that was it. At least before, you know, although it might have been an offside call, but the referee didn't see it, the goal might have been given. Now, with so many perspectives, with so many point of views, the decision is always going to be questioned, because we have VAR, because we have this new technology that allows you to go back in time, to have a look at it from a camera lens, and then to be able to make a decision based on that camera lens. I feel two ways about this. I think VAR is great in the aspect that it should have theoretically cancelled out the errors in the game. It should have theoretically gotten rid of any controversy in the game, but it's added to it, and that is the problem. The problem is if the question marks are multiplying, then get rid of VAR. There's no point of having it. If you're not going to use it correctly, then don't bother. And again, it brings me back to the comments made by that BT Sport referee, something Walters, I forgot his name, saying that VAR isn't there to rectify, isn't there to make the right decision. Makes no sense at all. And so I got the impression that Arteta was really fuming and irritated by the referee's decisions in that game and his attitude as well. Stinking attitude. But in terms of the performance, this is what really worried me, his response to the performance itself. Let me tell you what he said before I give my reaction or my comments to it. So on the performance, he said that it was a really strong performance again. We completely dominated the game. We dominated every department and we should have won the game. The way the team played, the energy, they showed the quality, they showed the amount of chances in situations we created, how quickly we regained the ball, how we controlled the long balls and the second balls, how aggressive we were on our duels. It was incredible, but it wasn't enough to win the game. I don't know if the middle part made sense because I didn't use the correct full stops and commas to break down that paragraph. But in other words, he was impressed and he was pleased with the performance, as he always is. And this is one thing that is beginning to really bother me about Arteta. And I don't know whether it's a media-trained answer that he has to give, because if he does slag his team off and if he does have negative things to say, then ultimately the boys will hear, ultimately the press will hear, and ultimately it will get out there and then it will create a big hoo-ha. This is what I'm hoping. But the reality is that Arsenal didn't play well enough to win that game. They didn't dominate any areas. In fact, although they might have dominated in possession, half of that possession that was gained was in that last 25 minutes. That last 25 minutes where Villa was sitting back, choosing to sit back, 11 men behind the ball, block of 5 defenders. You know, they played their game absolutely brilliantly. Hats off to them. They deserve to win. They were the better team on the day, and they have been the better team for the last 2 or 3 occasions that we've played them. They know how to set up against us. We don't know. We don't have a clue on how to set up against them. I have to say that at least he admitted the mistakes that were given. There were 2 or 3 opportunities again that were gifted to them, and I agree. I have to agree that these opportunities that Villa did get, they didn't do much to create from the back or as a team, but it was the constant pressure off the ball that allowed them to get into dangerous positions and to force us to make silly, sloppy mistakes like not putting 2 passes together and then winning the ball in the middle, in midfield, and then hitting us on the counter-attack. But to say that we completely dominated the game, we dominated every department and we should have won the game, I can't understand what kind of game you're watching. If you're telling me that we dominated in every department. We didn't dominate in every department. We didn't dominate going forward, we didn't dominate in midfield, and we didn't dominate in defence. We looked shaky, and credit to Villa for playing the way that they did, because it worked for them brilliantly. They should have got more goals. Arsenal, on the other hand, had their fair share of opportunities as well, but those opportunities for me were half opportunities. They weren't goal-scoring opportunities. They weren't put the ball into the box, someone's there, someone has a header or someone has a shot in the box and forces a goalkeeper to make a save. There was 1 or 2 occasions. Xhaka's shot in the first half and maybe Pepe's in the second half. I can't remember anything more than that. Other than that, it was just dead crosses going into the box with no one available, players panicking in the final third, not getting the right pass together, not getting the right movement together. How quickly we regained the ball, how we controlled the long balls and second balls, how aggressive we were on our duels, that was invisible. I don't know if he's referring to a different game or not, but that was for me invisible. And I think it's about time that Arteta and Arsenal stopped with this narrative of we play really well, therefore we deserve to win the game. The reason we lost yesterday is because we weren't good enough and we didn't play well. We played better against Southampton. We played better against Newcastle. We played better against West Bromwich Albion. We played better against Chelsea. We deserve to win those games. Those games were the games we deserved to get the 3 points. Yesterday, we didn't do anything to deserve the 3 points. In terms of the injury on Partey, Arteta said that he doesn't know. He has a muscular issue, so we had to take him off. He couldn't carry on playing. He wasn't feeling well enough to continue playing. In essence, no one really knows what's going on with Partey other than he's got a muscular issue. Whether it's related to the one that he's had previously or not, we're yet to find out. We've got a long week. We've got about 7 days until we play Leeds next Sunday. So it's about 7 days now. And so you can only hope that he recovers by then, because right now I worry. I worry if there's no Thomas Partey in the middle, then there is no creativity, there is no initiative to carry the ball forward into attacking areas, and also to create attacking opportunities for players like Saka, Pepe, getting players like Emil Smith-Rowe and Lacazette into the right areas. And for me, if Thomas Partey doesn't play alongside Xhaka, then we're going to get Xhaka 0.1, which is sideways passing, running back, panicking in the heart of the midfield, and we can't have that. And it really shows how fragile we are as a squad without one or two players. Tina's been out. We've really lacked in the attacking threat going down the flanks. And if Partey is gone, there is no creativity. There is no midfielder who can pass the ball with purpose and move with the ball as well. So fingers crossed that he's back. In terms of European qualifications, Arteta said that this defeat is a big blow because considering the performances we've put in both games, we got 0 points. We have to come back. We've done it this season. We have to do it again. We have a week now to prepare for the game against Leeds, and we have to focus on that. Let's get one thing right. Arsenal are in no contention to qualify for the Europa League or the Champions League. If a freak ending happens where teams around the table drop points consistently and Arsenal are the only team that are doing well with getting, a run of 10 games where they're winning constantly, then maybe we might be in a shot of getting a Europa League qualification spot. But the way I see it is yesterday's defeat was the nail in the coffin. If we had won yesterday, you could still say there was a possible chance, but to lose 2 games in the matter of a week with teams above us, with a number of game in hand, I don't see it possible. I really don't. I think it's too much of a mountain to climb. It's too much of a mountain for this squad of players to climb, most definitely. And like I said, I reiterate, with just 2 players missing, it looks as if the whole system crumbles. And so the window next window is going to be really important. We have a number of deadwood to yet to shift out and a number of players to bring in. And I hope that Arsenal dip into their funds and get the job done. But in terms of European qualification, the only hope we really have, if we are to have any chance of qualifying, is to win the Europa League. That's going to be really difficult for us, and it'll be interesting to see how Arteta approaches the game against Benfica. That is a massive test. After Benfica, then you got the last 16, you got the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and if you're lucky to get through those games, then you got the finals. So we've got at least, let's see, two last 32, 2 last 16, 2 quarterfinals and semi-finals. That's 8. We've got 9 games to play before we can think about playing in the Champions League next season and getting our first European title in God knows how many years. In terms of the KONSA possible red card decision, there was a question asked and a point made that he had received the red card from a similar incident when he was playing at his time at Arsenal. He said that, as you could see, I was really animated for a few decisions and one big decision that I will not discuss here, but it is what it is. It's not an excuse. Regardless of those decisions, we have to win the game. It's as simple as that. And I couldn't have put it any better. Regardless of the decisions, it doesn't matter how many times the referee denies us a penalty, denies a red card for the opposition. If you're not good enough in open play to get through a team and to score a goal, you don't deserve to win. I don't care how many decisions go against you. Against Wolves, we were absolutely robbed because our player was sent off and they were given a penalty. They were gifted a penalty. We should have scored. I haven't said that. We should have scored more goals in the first half earlier on. And we were really unlucky not to do so. But in this case, I think we all know that how Arteta feels about the KONSA decision. He should have been sent off, most probably. It's arguable. If I'm to argue that point, I would argue that with the pace of Saka, who can get away from KONSA, who had gotten away from KONSA, and the only player that was chasing him down was Matty Cash. With the pace of Matty Cash to Saka, who's going to win in that race? Well, Saka's already ahead. Cash has got to do a lot to get back and to make that tackle and to stop him. I think that before Cash gets to the box, Saka's already in there, ready to pull the trigger. That's how I feel. But obviously, it's a controversial decision. Whether it's a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity is obviously up for debate. I think when all things considered, it's not a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity because he's still got a lot to do till he gets to the box. But look, that decision alone wasn't the only one. There was the penalty incident in the box, which for me is a clear cut and obvious penalty. But there, decisions happened yesterday. Today's a new day. There's no point looking back and talking about those. And finally, there was a question asked on the number of mistakes that Arsenal were making in yesterday's game. We've been making mistakes throughout the whole season, but in particular yesterday's game, Arteta went on to answer that teams challenging for European places don't make mistakes. Those teams, they cannot play in the first 22 games of a season 4 or 5 times with 10 men. It doesn't happen. There isn't a team in the world that can sustain that. Still, if you make an error, you concede a goal, or if you concede a goal early, the team has to react to that, and the team reacted to that. Oh, he's saying the team reacted to that, and we have more than enough to still come back and win the game. I don't know whether I personally agree with the fact that we're able to come back and win that game despite being whether we're 10 men down, or we're given an early goal away. We clearly haven't. But yeah, it's as simple as that. If you're going to make mistakes, you're not going to do very well in the course of the season. If you're going to make mistakes, you're going to give teams goals. You're not ready to compete for the big prizes, for the big competitions. And like I said, I'll repeat this again. I repeated it in my podcast. I repeated it in my matchday reaction. Until this fragile mentality, this fragile state of mind, the Arsenal DNA, until that frame of mind is disappeared, because it's I would argue that this frame of mind, this fragile frame of mind, that I feel sorry for myself, down in the dumps, low on confidence, not being able to win games with ruthless aggression. I believe that started in 2006 after we lost the Champions League final. I believe after that we were unable to recover from that defeat, from the decision that went against us in that game, the Lehmann sending off, and the fact that we lost in such small margins. I think that disappointment is something that the club is still getting a hang of, still getting used to, still getting to grips to. And until we are past that stage, until we are able to overcome the ability to lose games and slump down into our own graves, and to just not do the obvious, which is pick yourself up, dust yourself down and go again. And until we're able to do that again, nothing's going to happen. I'm afraid nothing's going to happen, because it's inevitable. You're going to lose a game in the season. These boys, or any other boys that are put together, we saw Liverpool couldn't do it. I don't think there will be another team in history who will be able to do what Arsenal did in 2003, 2004, winning the league without losing a single game. I don't think it's possible. So bearing that in mind, when you lose a game, the most important thing to look at is how a team reacts. And if a team can't pick themselves up and go again and execute a game plan, then that's it. And there are a number of deadwood players with that sort of mindset that need to be moved on, and the sooner that happens, the better. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that bell notification to be notified every time I release a video. Obviously there's not a game until Sunday, so there won't be any content regarding the Leeds game. However, I will be releasing a video tomorrow talking about the season as a whole, trying to give some sort of a mid-season review, because we are past the midway mark. So yeah, we're looking at how well Arsenal have done, what the objectives were at the beginning of the season, and how far away we are from that sitting here now. So yeah, you can join me for that one tomorrow. But until then, stay home, stay safe, enjoy the snowy weather if you're in London and Essex, or if you're wherever you are and it's snowing. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Bye bye.